All right, we're actually going to start standing today. So just let your hands rest at your sides. Let the feet rest wherever's comfortable. We'll start to close the eyes. Start to focus on the breath. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Feeling the breath move in, filling all those spaces in the lungs. And then moving down through the legs, out through the arms. And then coming all the way back up, feeling it go through the nostrils as we're exhaling it out. Focusing on the breath, letting the day go, bringing ourselves into our rooms and onto our mats. Taking these next few minutes just to recognize that breath, starting to get comfortable with it. Try breathing normally, and then mixing in a few deep inhales and exhales, feeling the difference those deeper breaths bring into the body. While keeping the eyes closed, if it's comfortable, just kind of start to sway a little bit on those feet. Going front to back, side to side. Feeling the weight move around in each part of that foot. And then coming center over those feet. Lift all 10 toes up off the mat. Kind of wiggle them around. And then let them come back down onto the mat. And kind of take one knee, bend it, straighten the other knee, and then switch to that other side. Kind of going back and forth. And then straightening both those knees back up. And then taking those hips and kind of just shifting just those hips left and right. And then letting those hips come back center. Moving up to those shoulders, shrug those shoulders up. And then just let them fall back down. Going up and down here. And letting those shoulders fall. And we'll move on to those elbows, bringing those elbows up, almost like we're doing a curl, and then letting the arms fall back down. Just moving those arms up and down. And letting those arms hang. And start to circle those wrists around. And letting those wrists relax. And then last, we'll open the fingers and then squeeze them into a fist, opening them back up. Just going back and forth here. And then let those hands relax. And we'll rotate the head side to side. Letting the ears drop over those shoulders. And then bring that head up. Relax those shoulders down if they felt like they've come up at all. And we'll slightly start to open those eyes. And inhale, bring those arms up. And as we exhale, we're going to twist to that left side, bringing those arms down, kind of giving ourselves that little hug here. The gaze can be at the side wall or over the back shoulder, whatever's comfortable on the neck right now. And on our next inhale, bringing ourselves back forward, lifting those arms up. And as we exhale, twisting over to that opposite side, bringing those arms down. Again, letting that gaze go to wherever is comfortable on that neck. And on our next inhale, bringing ourselves back forward, lifting those arms up. As we exhale, dropping that left arm down, folding over that left side. Feeling that stretch all down the right side body. Trying to keep even weight between those feet. And on that next inhale, bringing that other arm up. And as we exhale, dropping that right arm down, folding over that right side. Again, feeling that stretch all down that left side body. Remember to keep that weight even between those feet. And on our next inhale, bring ourselves back up, bring that right arm up. As we exhale, bring those arms down. We'll clasp the hands behind the back. And then start to kind of push those hands out and down a little bit. So we're going to open that chest up. So getting that stretch in that chest. Breathing deeply into that area. And then slowly release those shoulders, release those hands. We'll come to the tops of our mats. And inhale the arms up. Bring the gaze up towards the thumbs. And then exhale, bringing those arms out, swan diving over the legs, putting a little bit of a bend in those knees to allow the legs to stretch a little bit. Inhale, we're going to slide the hands right under those kneecaps, right up those shins. Exhale, we're going to fold back down. And on the next inhale, coming all the way back up to standing. Bringing those arms up with us, gaze going up. Exhale, drop those hands down over that heart. Inhale the arms up, gaze up. Exhale that swan dive over those legs. Inhale, half lift, sliding the hands right under those knees. Exhale, folding back forward. And inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale the arms down. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, swan dive over those legs. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. As we inhale, we're going to take the right leg, stepping it back long on the mat. And drop down onto that knee. Untuck that toe if it's comfortable. As we inhale, we're going to swing the arms up. And as we exhale, coming back down over that front leg, hands on the mat. We'll tuck those toes behind us, pop that leg up. Inhale, step that front foot back to a high plank or dropping onto our knees. As we exhale, coming all the way onto the mat. Untuck those toes. Inhale, just lift that chest up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, we're going to push back to a down dog so we can come all fours here. And then pop those hips up. Taking a breath in our down dog. On the next inhale, lifting our right leg up. As we exhale, we're going to sweep that leg forward, dropping the foot between the thumbs. Dropping down onto that back knee, untucking those toes if it's comfortable. This time we're going to inhale again, sweeping up. And exhale, fold back over that front leg. Tuck those toes behind us. Pop that knee up and step that back leg forward so we come into our forward fold over those legs. And then on our next inhale, sweeping ourselves all the way up to standing. Exhale the arms down. All right, doing that again on the other side. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, swan diving forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, this time the left leg goes back to that lunge, dropping onto that back knee. Again, untucking those toes if it's comfortable. Inhale, sweep ourselves up. Exhale, fold over that front leg. Tuck those back toes, pop that knee up. Step that front foot back to that high plank or drop onto those knees. Exhaling all the way onto that mat. Inhale, just lifting that chest. Exhaling down. Inhale, pushing back to that down dog. Taking a breath here. On our next inhale, take that left leg up with a bend in that knee. As we exhale, sweep that foot forward, dropping in between the thumbs. Dropping down onto that back knee, untucking those toes. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhale, folding forward. Pop those toes up with that knee up off the mat. Inhale, step that back leg forward into that forward fold. And inhale all the way up. Exhaling down. All right, we'll do one more, but we'll do it a little bit more traditional. So just one time here. Inhaling the arms up. Exhale, swan diving forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. As we inhale, we're going to step both feet back, this time to that high plank. We're dropping onto those knees. Exhale, coming all the way down. Inhale, just lift that chest. Exhale, down. Inhale, push back to that down dog. All right, we'll hold this down dog for a couple breaths here. So feel free to pedal those feet out. Stretching out those legs, maybe a little bit more. Taking your time. If one side's a little bit tired, you need to hold it just a little bit longer before switching to that other side. And then let those legs come to stillness. Taking a few breaths here. On our next inhale, we're going to lift our right leg, putting that bend in that knee. As we exhale, sweep that leg forward, dropping it between those thumbs. We're going to take the back foot and kind of hop it forward just a little bit so we have a little bit shorter of a stance. And then rotate that foot so that back heel drops down onto the mat. We'll take the hands, place them on the thigh, give ourselves that little assist up. And then once we're standing, if we need to adjust those feet. So that back toe should be kind of pointing off at an angle. If that's uncomfortable on the knee, you can rotate that foot so it's parallel with the mat or staying up on those back toes. All right, so we're gonna put that bend in that front knee once we make sure those hips are nice and square to the front. And then put that bend in. Inhale, bring the arms up. So we can stay right here. Or if we want to add a little bit of back bend, we can take the hands, bringing them together above us. We'll take the pointer fingers, keeping them straight up. Slowly bring the gaze up. And then as we exhale, start to just shift that upper body back. Engaging those core muscles, engaging those abs. Helping to take a little bit of that strain off of that lower back. Taking those deep breaths. And then if we're in that back bend, slowly shifting ourselves back, straight up and down. We'll release those hands. Hold it here for a breath. And on the next exhale, let those arms come down. We'll bring the hands behind the back. So we can kind of fist bump ourselves behind the back, or you can just stack the palms, kind of rest them on that lower back, whatever's comfortable. We'll take an inhale at the top here. And as we exhale, we're going to start to shift that upper body forward, kind of coming at a little bit of an angle. So it's almost like that shoulder is going to come down to that knee or wherever's comfortable. So we're not actually resting on that leg, just kind of hovering over at about an angle. So our head's kind of pointing, I guess, to a corner of a room. Taking those deep breaths here. Trying to keep the length of our back here. So try not to round ourselves down. And at any point, we can always take the hands and drop them onto the mat. Holding it for one more breath. And as we exhale, take those hands, placing them on the mat. Rotate that back foot so we're up on those toes. And then dropping down onto that knee. Untuck those toes. And take those hands, place them on that thigh, give ourselves that little assist up. And then if we need to adjust that front foot now that we're in, so we're gonna kind of sink into those hips. So we don't wanna be straight up and down. You wanna get sunk into it so you feel a stretch all down that left side. So taking the right hand, placing it on the thigh, kind of by the knee, and then take that left hand, placing it on top. So we can stay here, or we can slowly start to add another back bend here. And this time we just start to slowly straighten those elbows, bringing that gaze up. And then once those elbows are straight, just stay right there. Again, engaging those core muscles, engaging those abs. Taking Couple more breaths. And then slowly starting to bring ourselves forward out of that back bend. Take the hands, place them down onto the mat. We're gonna tuck that back toe, pop that knee up off the mat. Step that right front leg back into a down dog. Take a few breaths here. This is your chance to catch the breath if you've lost it. Refocusing on it here. On our next inhale, we're gonna lift that left leg this time with that bend in that knee. As we exhale, start to sweep that leg forward, dropping it between those thumbs. Taking that back foot and kind of hopping it forward, just to shorten that stance a little bit. Rotating that heel so it's down on that mat. Placing the hands on that thigh, we're giving ourselves that little assist up. Again, if you need to adjust once we're in that standing position. So that back toe is off at that angle or parallel if it helps a little bit with that knee. Take the hands, place them on those hips. Make sure those hips are nice and square with the front of the room. And then sink into that front knee. And we'll inhale the arms up. Now if we want to add that back bend here, we'll take those hands together. Pointer fingers facing up. Bringing that gaze up towards the ceiling. And then slowly rotating that upper body back. Engaging that core. Taking those deep breaths. Holding it for just a couple more breaths. And then slowly starting to bring ourselves upright. We'll release the hands, holding for just a breath. And then on that exhale, bringing those arms down, hands behind the back. Again, we can either give ourselves that fist bump behind our back or, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. Place the hand on top of the other hand. So whatever hand we had on the bottom last time, switch it so it's on the top this time. So we'll take an inhale. And as we exhale, starting to bow ourselves forward. Again, kind of going off at that angle, so that shoulder's going down to that knee. Keeping that straight line from the back to the hips. Again, we can always take the hands and place them on either side of that foot. And taking those deep breaths here. Taking one more breath. And as we exhale, release those hands down onto that mat. Rotate up on those back toes. And drop onto that knee, untucking those toes. Take those hands, place them up on that thigh, giving ourselves that little assist up. And again, if we need to adjust that front foot, so we're sinking down into those hips, feeling that stretch all down that right hip. So this time we'll take the left hand, placing it on the bottom, right hand on top. So we can stay right here. We're adding that back bend in. We'll just start to straighten those elbows, bringing that gaze up. And once those elbows are straight, just staying right there. Engaging that core. Taking those deep breaths. Take one more breath here. And then slowly start to straighten ourselves back up. Taking those hands, releasing them onto the mat. Tucking those back toes, popping that knee up. And step that front leg back to a down dog. If you need to shake the legs out, feel free to shake those legs out. Or pedaling the feet. And then we'll take a breath here. And then drop down onto our knees. Tucking those big toes together. You have the option here if you want to widen the knees on the mat, you can, or just kind of keeping them under you, whatever is comfortable. Sinking those hips back onto the heels, dropping that forehead to the mat. We'll take a few breaths here. If it's too much to have those arms outstretched, you can bring them alongside the legs. Give the shoulders a little bit of a rest. And we'll take one more deep inhale. Exhaling it out. And on that next inhale, coming up to those hands and those knees. We'll untouch those toes from each other. And then tuck them behind us, lifting those hips up, coming into a down dog. We'll take just a couple breaths here. And on the next inhale, lifting that right leg up, putting that bend in that knee. As we exhale, shifting that foot forward, dropping it between those thumbs. Rotate that back foot so it's parallel with the mat. Take those hands on that thigh, give ourselves a little assist up. And again, once we're standing, if we need to adjust that stance. So we have a little bit of a wider stance here. Those hips, we're gonna take those hands, placing them on those hips and kind of shift them so they're facing that side wall or side whatever's in front of us. And then put that bend in that front knee. Bring those arms out over the legs and gaze over that front middle finger. So trying to keep those arms parallel with each other or with the legs. So if you feel them start to shift down, just slowly lift them up and relax the shoulders down the back. Take deep breaths here. And we're going to rotate that right hand so the palm's facing up towards the sky. And as we exhale, start to shift that hand and that body back. That left arm just sliding down that back thigh. Gaze going up towards the sky. And then slowly shifting ourselves back forward. Exhale, bring those arms down. Straighten that front leg. Rotate that front foot so it's also parallel with the mat. And then taking a second here to kind of line up those toes so they're about in line with each other. And we'll inhale the arms up. And exhale, fold right down between those legs. Just letting that head hang. Let those arms hang. And then taking those hands, placing them right under that face, straightening those elbows. We're going to start to walk the hands over to that left foot, just as far as is comfortable. If we can get all the way to that foot, we can try to grab onto that ankle and just so we feel that stretch all down that left leg. Trying to bring that upper body close to that leg as we can. Breathing down the back of that leg. And then walking those hands back center. We'll let ourselves hang again. Taking those deep breaths here. And then taking those hands again, placing them under the face, straightening those elbows, and walking over to that opposite side just as far as is comfortable. Again, if we can get to that foot and ankle and take a hold of it, and then let that upper body just relax into that leg, or wherever you feel, start to feel the stretch down the back of that leg. Sending the breath down that leg. Feeling it loose and just a little bit more with each breath. And then slowly walking those hands back center. And then walking all the way to the top of the mat with those hands, rotating those feet. And stepping that front foot back to a down dog. And if you need to shake the legs out or pedal those feet, feel free. We'll take one more breath. And on that next inhale, lifting that left leg. As we exhale, sweeping that leg forward, dropping it between those thumbs. And rotating that back foot so it's parallel with the mat. Placing those hands on that thigh, giving ourselves that little assist up. So we got a little bit of a wider stance here. Take those hands on those hips, kind of shift them so they're over to that side. And then putting that bend in that front knee. And arms out over those legs. And gaze over that front middle finger. Remember to relax those shoulders down the back. Trying to keep those arms parallel over those legs. And deep breaths. And slowly rotate that front hand so the palm is facing up towards the sky. And as we exhale, shifting ourselves back, letting that back arm just go down that back thigh. Gaze going up towards the ceiling. And breathe. And as we exhale, dropping ourselves back forward, bringing those arms out for just a second. And then letting those hands come down. Straightening that front leg. Again, rotating so we're parallel. And inhaling in, arms up. And exhale, dropping forward. We'll stay here for just a breath. And then place those hands under that face, straightening those arms. Walk those hands over to the front of the mat, rotating those feet. And then stepping that back foot forward. So now we're folding in that forward fold over those legs. And taking those knees, putting a little bit of a bend. Place the hands on the thighs and start to roll ourselves up. Slowly stacking those vertebrae. And that head comes up last. Roll those shoulders down. Let the arms come down by the sides. Close the eyes here at the top. We'll take a couple breaths. And we'll slowly open those eyes back up. And take those feet and kind of toe heel them so they're about hip distance or shoulder distance apart. And we'll turn this way. So there's a couple ways we can get into our next pose. So we're going to go into a deep squat. So we can, from here, bring the hands together and then slowly start to just sink all the way down into a squat. Or it's a little bit easier sometimes to fold forward and then start to sink those knees down. Kind of helps a little bit with that balance. So whatever option you want to take here, if you want to try doing one way and then you can do the other way and see what might work a little bit better for you. But what we'll do is as we'll inhale and then we'll exhale, start to sink down. If we're exhale, we can fold forward as well and start to sink into that squat. Takes a little bit of a balance here. So depending how flexible our ankles and our Achilles are, is going to be how close our feet are to the mat. It's a pretty tight area, so a lot of times we can't get our feet all the way down. So if it's not comfortable, you can take the mat and kind of roll it so your foot has a little bit of a support behind it. Or if you want to just get that stretch. So we're finding that spot because we are balancing just a bit here. So trying to focus on that spot that's not moving in front of us. Taking those breaths. We'll take just a couple more here. And then take those hands, placing them down onto the mat. And slowly start to shift the hips up, coming into a standing position to let all that blood go back into those feet. You need to kind of rotate those ankles or lift those toes. And then we're going to step back into a down dog. On our next exhale, coming down onto those knees. And then if we can untuck those toes and start to walk the hands back. So you're just gonna kind of sit down onto those heels if it's comfortable. If not, we can come up onto the knees. So we're gonna do one kind of final back bend here. And again, we have a couple options. So we can come down onto the heels, taking the hands back here behind us. And then we'll start to push the hips up, bringing the gaze up. So that's one option. This is a little bit less intense on the lower back. If we have blocks, we can take blocks behind us, or we can tuck those back toes. And we'll start to shift the hips back. So we're touching those heels and then kind of pushing forward. So it's almost like that front body, those thighs are right up against a wall. So again, a few different options here. Engaging that ab, the core area to help with that lower back. We'll hold it for just one more breath. And then slowly start to shift forward, whatever version we're in. We're gonna start to bring the hands down onto the mat. Tuck those toes together. Maybe take a different variance of our child's pose. If we had the legs together last time, try to widen them on the mat. And then sink those hips down. Drop that forehead down. Take those deep breaths. Let that back just relax. And using this time to refocus on that breath here. And on that next inhale, coming up to those hands and those knees. So we'll untuck those toes. Make sure those hips are right, or I'm sorry, the knees are right under the hips. The wrists are right under those shoulders. We're gonna help stretch out that back. So as we inhale, drop that belly down, bring that gaze up. And exhale, roll that spine up, tuck that chin to the chest. Inhale, drop that belly down, gaze up. Exhale, roll that spine. Inhale, dropping that belly down. And exhale, roll that spine. Inhale, dropping that belly down. Exhale, roll that spine. And doing it one more time. Inhale, dropping that belly down. And exhale, roll that spine. And on that next inhale, coming to a neutral spine. And then slowly making our way onto our mat, having a seat onto the mat. We'll take those feet. Actually, let's bring the left leg in and take the right leg and kind of kick it out. So it's like at a little bit of an angle coming straight out from that hip. So we want that left foot not all the way up against that thigh. So you want to maybe a quarter of an inch at least gap between the foot. So we're not resting it all the way in. And we'll inhale, bring those arms up. As we exhale, start to slowly kind of twist towards that leg and drop forward, taking a hold of that foot. You can take the left hand if you want to get a little bit more stretch down the side and kind of rotate it on the outside of that foot. And then take the hands, placing on both sides of that leg and start to walk ourselves back up. And we'll switch those legs. So that left leg is going to go out to that angle. Bring that right foot in, leaving that little bit of space between the leg and the foot. We'll inhale those arms up. And as we exhale, start to twist towards that leg and fold forward. And if you want to try to get a little bit more of a stretch down the side of the body, you can take that right hand and place it on the outside of that foot. And breathe in that stretch. And then we'll release that foot, taking both hands on either side of that leg, walking ourselves back up. Now we'll take both feet forward and slowly make our way all the way down onto our mat. Take the arms out, kind of like a T to each side, bringing the feet up onto the mat. And we'll walk the feet just a little to the right and then shift those hips over, bringing the knees into the chest, and then let those legs fall to the left side. Feeling that twist in the lower back, sending the breath into that area. And we'll slowly lift that top leg, following it by that bottom leg, letting those feet come down onto the mat, walking them over to that left side, and shift those hips over, bringing the knees back into the chest, and then letting them fall over to that right side. And we'll slowly start to lift that left leg up, following it by the bottom leg, placing both feet onto the mat, walking those feet center, and shift those hips over. We'll let those legs come all the way down onto the mat. And take those arms up ahead, up above the head. One final stretch here. Stretch those legs all the way down, arms all the way up, just like we're getting out of bed in the morning. Full body stretch. And then let it all relax onto the mat. Let those legs fall to wherever's comfortable. Bring the arms down alongside the body. Start to close the eyes. Refocusing on the breath. Starting to clear the mind. Releasing all the tension. Watching it all leave with each exhale. This is your time to not have to worry about anything or to have to think about anything. Just to let it all go. If you find that thoughts start to enter your mind, or maybe something outside is distracting you, try to bring yourself back by just focusing on the breath. Maybe counting each inhale and exhale. Remembering this is your time to just be with yourself, to just relax on your mat. Slowly start to bring a little life back into the body by wiggling the fingers and the toes. Roll the wrists and ankles. Rock your head from side to side. Start to deepen your inhales and exhales. When you feel ready, slowly place one foot on the mat and follow it by the other foot. And bring one knee into the chest, followed by the other knee. Taking hold of the legs, slowly rocking side to side. When you feel ready, roll onto your right side. With your right side grounded by the earth, leaving your left side open to the sun, the moon, and the stars, and all the gifts the universe has to offer you today. When you feel ready, come up to a comfortable seated position. We'll take the hands, place them in front of the heart. Close the eyes one last time. Take a deep inhale and exhale it all out. Thank you for sharing your practice with me this evening. I hope you have a great rest of your night and a very happy Thanksgiving. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.